Dan, 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 Dan.
But Facebook does have a problem with the song, even though it is you know why? Because it is a YouTube song.
The hell with all of them.
It's back. We're back. Lakers weekend for you, everyone. What's up, everyone? It's Gerald Glassford. Joe Soro here. Simblade, SimbladeWithAY.com and Oxide247 at LakersBall.com. I am Gerald Glassford. Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, all that good stuff. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget our good friends, Stone Hansen, John Costa, the Lakerholics crew, Empire Jeff, Lakers in 5, all those great people that are out there. Plus, make sure you like and subscribe today to get the latest notifications on when we go live on the air with the latest Lakers Fast Break podcast. Well, we were thinking about whether or not we were going to go on tonight, but what would we talk about when we get on the air? Well, guess what? An NBA trade, or I should say a sign-in trade, went down earlier this evening involving someone that the Lakers were rumored to be interested in after they lost out on Klay Thompson. DeMar DeRozan is on his way to Sacramento after meeting with the team earlier today and finalizing a 3-year, $76 million deal, third-year partial guarantee. It was announced that there was a sign-in trade, which included draft picks Harrison Barnes going to San Antonio and Chris Duarte going to Chicago, plus a huge trade exception going to Chicago, which they may or may not use down the line. But all that got us thinking, it's pretty creative. Shows a front office that wants to win sooner than later. Not necessarily sure if that's going to fit in Sacramento because you're forgetting who's going to try to rebound outside of Sabonis for that team or play defense. I mean, why not? It looks like their defense is going to be more scoring there. All right, but it'd be one of the best scoring offenses in the league. But here today to go ahead and discuss another L for Rob Pelinka, or are we taking a sigh of relief that we didn't get DeMar DeRozan? It's a good man indeed. It is, of course, Joe Soro. Joe, great to have you here. Again, 3 years, $76 million, third-year partial guarantee. That's what did it for DeRozan. The money's still out there, Joe. Rob isn't putting it in the right places, seemingly. Or is he?
Well, you could say he's getting the full Monty. For those of you who don't know what the hell I'm talking about, the GM for the Kings is Monty McNair. Don't know much about him, but did do some research recently with him just to see, kind of waiting for this moment, because this rumor has been going on that there might be some interest in Sacramento. And I was pretty confident that this deal would happen. It didn't make
as soon as he met with them, as soon as he flew to Sacramento.
It didn't make any sense on why that rumor would come out and all of a sudden fall through. I mean, I know that could have fallen through, but it made too much sense, not only for DeRozan, because he was going to get more money and the kind of money that he wants, but also that the Sacramento Kings now have another score to help Fox. And with all due respect to Harrison Barnes, other than playing against the Lakers, he usually stunk. So it's I'd say the Kings probably don't lose those last few games at the end of the year with DeRozan. So there's another Western Conference team that's likely going to be very competitive. And the Kings have been wiping the floor with the Lakers the last few years without DeRozan being on the team. So I can only imagine what that's going to be like when he is. The L's keep coming. I didn't think the Lakers were able to get DeRozan, so I'm not lying on that. I think the important part of this is the fact that the teams around the Lakers are greatly improving. I'm waiting on what happens with Brandon Ingram. If New Orleans gets a good haul for him, there's still going to be an issue if, of course, Zion Williamson is healthy. But that one right there is something I'm going to be looking into. And I don't think Trey Young's going anywhere at this point. I'm just kind of throwing that out there. I don't know for sure, but I'd like to think that something would have happened by now. I think unless Atlanta decides that, we're not going to get the haul that Mikal Bridges got, which was an overpay, then maybe they might make something happen. But this was probably, in my opinion, the last deal that probably puts a button on the fact that the Lakers might not even make a play-in. And that is where we're at, folks. But, yay, Pelinka got into the J.J. Redick press conference a minute in, saying they're going to start developing the young talent like Max Christie and Jalen Hood Schifino. And, of course, Bronny James. We can't forget about Bronny James, so I can't wait.
Whoop-de freaking do there. Woohoo. Love it. But it is the Lakers Fast Break. Truly appreciate you joining us. Please like and subscribe to get the latest notifications on when we go live on the air.
What happened? What happened?
Lakers Fast Break. What?
You said whoop-de freaking do. What happened?
No, I was talking about I was trying to support you on what you were talking about with Rob, how that's exciting what Rob said.
I thought somebody was trolling the chat.
No. That would be part of the norm, yes. But no, I was just following in your footsteps there, right there. Alfonso, truly appreciate you watching on Facebook. The team has been missing out of notable free agents for the past few off seasons. This season also as well. He asked me, is there any notable free agents left out there in the marketplace? At this point, no. Miles Bridges, whatever you think about him, he is a 20-point scorer in the NBA, and he went back to Charlotte as well. So there are now no more players that scored 20 points in the league last year that's available and out there. So the pickings are slim, everyone, as far as available free agents. A lot of them are minimum level players. But the problem is the Lakers have an abundance of minimum level players they signed and who picked up their options. So now the Lakers are not only over the cap, they have a full roster. So if you want them to improve on that roster, Joe, you've got to start making some changes, and you better make it soon before that second tax apron kicks in.
There are a few left. They would have to take the $5.5 million MLE, which
after the Lakers moved whoever, because remember they're at a full 15 and then 3. They've already got their 3.
I believe that they're going to at least do that, and then they have to decide on whether they're going to invest in, I don't know, let's get our 9th, unless they trade, some of them, another guard.
They have to. Well, they're at 190 now.
Yeah, Markelle Fultz. Without that, I think they'll get something going where they can do that. They'll probably attach some second-round picks. They have 5 of them, I believe, if they have to. Of course, they always have to give up draft picks. They can never get any, right? But there's guys like Markelle Fultz out there, which I would not bring him in. Gary Trent Jr. is still out there. Sadiq Bey.
That's an attractive one right there.
Tyus Jones is still out there, I believe. Caleb Martin just shunned the Miami Heat for Philly. I think it's.
I thought it was Detroit. Yeah, no, it was Philly. You're right. It was Philly.
And I think Caleb Martin, if I'm correct, might have said, you know what, I'm feeling something in Philly right now, and I want to go win a championship, because I think he sees that Miami might not be where they need to be right now. So the Heat culture right now is taking a hit because Jimmy Buckets is taking too much money from them. I guess the Duncans are taking too much money.
Malik Beasley just signed with the Pistons.
Yeah. Oh, I mean he doubled his money. Malik Beasley went to Milwaukee, shot 41%. Of course, he couldn't shoot 41% with us, right? Shoots 41% from
unless it was garbage time. Then he was money, if you remember.
Oh, for sure. He was the Kirk Cousins of basketball. I was calling him Kirk Cousins of basketball.
You're right. Paul Reed is out there now because he did get waived by the 76ers. So
the Heat are stuck with too many big contracts going to guys that are good but not good enough, plus a checked in, checked out Jimmy Butler. And that's That's where that is.
Him and Pat Riley are going. Yeah, they're not having.
I think Pat's probably going to wait to see what happens in Milwaukee with Mr. Giannis. And if Giannis, if the Milwaukee Bucks start 10-20, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but let's just say they did. I'm curious to see what happens.
Devontae Graham is out there. He just got waived because he had that huge contract. Finally let go from it. His final year. I mean, that's a minimum guy right there. I would not give that guy $5 million. He just had a big, huge contract that he just got off of because he didn't perform to expectations.
You got the ones that do their job and some that don't. Right now, the Lakers are waiting for scraps to possibly fill in a couple of needs that they have. They have
to move players first,
right? And they have to move bad players, which means they have to attach draft picks, second round picks to move them.
How about Wendell Carter for Gabe? So if you're Orlando, would you accept that call?
Why would Orlando do that?
Yeah. Why would they give up their starting center? Even if you don't think he's going to be their starting center continuously, put in Patate, whatever. Would you give up your starting center for a guy that only played 6 games last season, correct? Was it 6 games? How many games did he play last
Wendell
season?
Carter?
Gabe Vincent.
Oh, Gabe Vincent. I don't know. I know that it wasn't. It wasn't 10. I don't think it was more than 10 games. That's for sure.
Yeah, let me go ahead and look at that because of his knees. Yeah, I would. Again, if you're going to attach, he played 11 whopping games. Last season.
I played one more game than I thought.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, Chris, that would be nice, but I mean, there is a sucker born every minute, but you'd have to be a pretty big sucker to take on that deal without. Or if Lakers are willing to give up their first and attach that, yeah.
Isobar
Carter Jr. for first.
Yeah. Isobar. I don't think the Milwaukee Bucks would make that trade. If let's say there's a demand, Giannis is likely going to want to go to Miami, and Bam Adebayo is likely going to be in that trade to get Giannis.
And remember, with Gabe, he has still 2 years. It's not coming off the books this year, and they're fully guaranteed years. It's not like a partial or a team guarantee, team option. I believe both years left, Joe, are fully guaranteed.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yes, Rob Pelinka loves to give fully guaranteed contracts and player options.
How nice.
Why? I don't know. I am befuddled by those decisions. So
you and I both.
Yeah, I think the only guys that don't have a player option might be Jared Vanderbilt. Oh no, he has a player option.
No, he's got a full floor, man. He's got a full floor.
Yeah.
He was already hurting with his foot at the time he signed that extension, Joe. When it was offered to him, of course he's going to sign it.
Yeah. So what you're likely going to see is you're probably going to see the Max Christies of the world get a lot of run. I don't know if Jalen Hood-Schifino's back's going to be what it needs to be to start the season, but they're going to force him into the lineup to see what he's about. And then they're probably banking that Gabe Vincent's going to be valuable without the injury issues. Like he was, or valuable in terms of like he was in 2023. So the Lakers are living in hope right now. That's where they're living at. They're living at hope. They
also got to give one of those contracts, like I keep telling you, Lewis or any one of those guys. JHS would be better because he costs more, but Lewis, Wood, Hayes, any one of those guys, they have to come off the books, or else the guy. If we're in the second tax apron by $1 million, Joe, that's absolutely insanely stupid. We missed out, or Jeannie missed out on $11 million, getting $11 million free from the league, Joe, because of $2 million contract.
Do you think that?
Yeah.
Do you think that she knew that? Do you think she knew that those kind of details is in that Rob's department?
That is Rob's department as vice president of operations.
So why isn't anyone asking these questions to these schleppers?
Just had to move one contract then.
Mm-hmm.
Have to move one now.
And so why did they feel the need? I'm sorry, go ahead, Gerald.
I was going to say, remember, if they stay in the second tax apron, mind you, that they're $1 million in right now, according to Bobby Marks. Guess what, Joe? If they stay in it long enough, you get your pick frozen down the line. Doesn't worry about it next year because we don't have the pick, but you get your picks frozen down the line if you stay in the second tax apron.
Just why didn't these guys just make it a hard cap?
And can't trade. You can't realistically make really good trades. It's so hard for multiple player trades. Trades, period, for that matter. That's as Alan says.
Yeah, I don't have a response to that other than embarrassment.
It's a joke.
It's an embarrassment. I'm gonna wait and see if they actually get under the second apron.
Your mobility as an organization is nothing once you get into that second tax apron.
I don't think you can waive any. I don't think you can waive someone without still having to pay.
Yeah, you're still paying the contract, Alan. That's why. Oh yeah, you're going to tell LeBron to take a few millions less. He looked pretty damn happy here in Las Vegas while he's playing with clowning around with Kevin Durant right there yesterday and then today as well. Yeah, I don't think he looks like a guy that's going to be taking less millions. I mean, it's just simple capology. If we can understand this part of it, why can't he?
I hope he doesn't take a pay cut. I really do. But I believe worst case is going to be a trade. They're going to trade somebody for a second round pick attached to it. And then they'll get in under that way. I don't think LeBron has any reason. I don't care what they did for his family. I don't care. Okay, here's my response to that. Why would he go through all this to get his son a contract and then take money on the cuff? Because then at that point, well, why don't you just give your son the $2 million? Right? Let's say he takes a $100 million contract instead of 102. Why not just give your son the money, right?
Yep.
It might have been. So if he had loaned his son $2 million, his son isn't paying taxes on that. And in this case, he's getting taxed about 50% of his money, maybe a little bit more because of the jock tax, California, blah, 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 right? So it doesn't make sense from a common sense standpoint that he would do this and then take a pay cut because it's kind of counterproductive.
So now you're talking, Alan, about waiving and stretching. You're still paying a portion on the salary cap, and then you're going to get hurt. So who exactly are you waiving and stretching? If you're waiving and stretching a minimum player, for instance, that's about what, $2.5 million, Joe. That may not be enough to get you under that second tax apron. That would still be a dumb move. You would have to do it on someone like Jalen Hood-Schifino, who has a little bit higher contract, in order to get under that if you waived and stretched over the course of, what, say 3 or 4 years.
No, Bloodhound, we have 5 second-round picks. 5 second-round picks.
Speaking of picks, Daniel says the Blazers are wanting the Lakers to cough up their future first for Grant, and the Lakers don't want to do that. Daniel, if I'm on the phone with them and they wanted to give me that really bad contract, one of the worst in the NBA, well, actually, there's been a couple that's worse that have been signed as of late, James Harden. But if they really wanted to give me that bad contract, I would ask them to give me first. Why would I want to give them first? If Rob Pelinka ends up giving a first of any kind for Jeremy Grant, you fire him immediately. Well, they should already.
And that should be the only trade you do in terms of a bad contract, because his contract's only 2 more years.
Whose?
Jeremy Grant.
No, he's still 2028.
Is it really?
Yes, that's why it's so bad, Joe.
Hold on. Was I looking at something else?
You were looking at something
Oh, I
else.
was looking at DeAndre Ayton. So I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's why I was talking. That's why I brought up DeAndre Ayton.
There's no point. Oh,
it's only 2 years.
It's also Simon's contract too.
Yeah.
No, the Lakers.
Grant's, that's the bad one, Joe.
Once LeBron set in the two-year deal, it even made the Zack LaVine contract or trade not worth it, because that's going to be a year beyond if LeBron plays 2 years. If he plays one more year, then we just have to hold on another year of this stuff, and the Lakers then can start going into a different, philosophy after that, if they can.
This is my weekly let's put things in perspective when it comes to Jeremy Grant conversation I have with the audience, because seemingly I have to pull up this page. You know what? I've pulled it up so much recently, Joe, it actually comes up as a favorite now on my browser. 2024, 2025, $29.7 million, $29.7 million. The next year after that is $32 million. The next year after that is $34 million. And the next year after that, in 27, 28, as a 33-year-old, of course he's going to pick up that last year option at $36 million. Do you really want to pay Jeremy Grant at 33 years old $36 million?
No. I don't believe, as terrible as Rob Pelinka is, I don't believe they're not going to address that. It's just not feasible, and it's not practical. It's just not. The Lakers, if LeBron does decide to hang him up after the end of the year, I can't see that though. LeBron is a known cheapskate. For those of you who don't know LeBron, he's known to be a cheapskate. He's very frugal. I don't see him turning down another $50 million. I think he's going to play out the contract. And then, unless there's some weird Bobby Bonilla type arrangement, but then
what? He is taking less. As Bobby Marks says right now, according to reports, he is taking 2 years, 101.35, according to sources. So he is taking $2.5 million less. So the Lakers are below the 2.5. So it's gave back close to $3 million. So the Lakers are below this. So he is doing Rob a solid and making the Lakers below the second apron by $45,000. So Bobby Marks is going to readjust his own guide. So now the Lakers are not in the second apron by just a hair, Joe, thanks to LeBron James. LeBron James giveth and taketh away.
Well, isn't it the other way around right now?
Well, he
took it, and then now he's giving it away.
Well, he took a good spot with the Sun.
With the
roster spot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, my gosh, there could have been a good player. That Arms kid for Sacramento, that could have been a guy that we could have signed. The guy that blew up for 30 points against the Lakers earlier today in a 108-94 loss against Sacramento.
First of all, he was playing with the Lakers. I doubt he's going to be doing that kind of stuff against NBA seasoned guys. He might, I guess, but good. We're starting to get some closure here. Now, the question is, who are the Lakers going to get for the $5.5 million MLE?
But they still have to trade, Joe. If they get the 5.5 MLE, they still have to get contracts.
All right, folks. So just so you guys know, Gerald doesn't like me being optimistic and focused
I'm just saying. Okay. Let's say they will do it. Let's say they will move some of these bad contracts because they're now right at the second tax apron. But let's say they move some of these contracts. Who are you thinking? I like Gary Trent. Gary Trent Jr., I think, would be a good possibility if you can get him for $5. What do you think?
They might not have a choice. If
Yeah,
you can,
Lakers fan.
if you can move Gabe Vincent, you could get Tyus Jones and have him be the backup point guard, and he would be a better.
That'd be solid. Yeah,
he would be a better backup point guard than Gabe in my view.
I agree 100% on that.
Looking at Tyus, he's solid. He's been
Just don't ask him to start.
No, I wouldn't. That's why some guys are just better as number twos. So I think that would be something solid. And he's a good shooter, and that's really the big part here is Tyus shot over 40% last year. I know it was with the Wizards, but Gabe can't shoot, and Tyus can. So if Rob wants to somehow band-aid this a little bit better, see if you can get somebody to take Gabe Vincent, even if you have to attach something. But it doesn't look like it. It just doesn't look like they have a plan there.
So along with the player option and the no trade clause, Joe, LeBron's contract also includes a 15% trade kicker. So if he has a no trade clause, so if he says you can trade me, he'll get a 15% trade kicker on that. So I wonder what that conversation was like that Rob had.
Which of those gutless, spineless bums would have the balls to trade him?
I just want to know what that conversation was like. LeBron, I miscalculated. I'm a little bit over the second tax apron. Is there any chance you could take a little bit less? Yeah, I can see how that went.
I don't know what to say.
He took less, man.
I cannot continue to just berate this team over and over again. There needs to be some understanding on what the direction is at some point here. What is the direction? Are they going to use the MLE? Can they? Will they? And why would he take a pay cut? They really couldn't move this dead weight. And they have to move some of these guys. Otherwise, you're going to have too full of a roster. I don't understand what's going on here. What are these guys doing?
Kurt's so funny. That comes out of Bronny's allowance.
I don't know what they're doing. I don't understand what's going on.
Will Bronny claim hardship for only making just under $2 million this year?
I don't know what that means.
I was just talking in relation to Kurt's comment.
I mean, this is starting to get into James Dolan area, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Or James Dolan is just a dumbass jerk. That's why he was so bad for so long.
At least the Sphere looks nice.
The Sphere?
He owns the Sphere.
He owns the Sphere? How much money does James Dolan have?
A lot. Remember, he's part of, I think, does he own Comcast? I think he owns Comcast. Yeah, he's loaded, Joe. He's got money. Sorry to depress your day even further, my friend. I wasn't trying.
If folks, some of you have been here for the first time, understand.
Not a huge crowd tonight.
Yes, thank you for being here. The thing is, we're looking at a
Cablevision. That's it, Cablevision.
We're looking at the beginning of what might be a worse situation. I thought some bad things before we got into free agency, but I thought there would be some kind of progress somewhere. But the roster construction on this whole thing at the moment, based off of what we've learned with the new CBA, I'm in complete bewilderment. Is that a word?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I can't understand what is going on. Just like how we didn't know the identity of this team for so long while that Ham was coaching this team. I'm starting to feel like the team's focus and what they're really preparing for. What is that? And maybe LeBron knows that too. Maybe LeBron knows that's why he's playing in the Olympics, and that's why he did this whole thing with his son totally knowing that they're not going to win a championship next year, and he's just going to play it out and play with his family and ride off into the hopscotch sunset.
So when you heard me say again, and thank you also to the chat member who pointed that out as far as LeBron, because it just came through the wire that he has decided to take a little bit of a lesser amount to avoid have the Lakers in his own graciousness now are going to take a little bit of a pay cut. They're just under $45,000 under the second tax apron. So LeBron graciously decided to go ahead and not sign for the full 104 that he was originally
Was it 104 or 102?
It was 104.
Huh.
So he said he'll take about $3 million less on this 2-year contract that he has. Second year player option.
Almost 3, huh?
Yeah, almost 3. Just enough to get the Lakers under the second tax apron.
Okay, now what are they going to do?
You still got to move contracts because you got 15 players on the roster, 3 two-ways. All those players that you were hoping wouldn't pick up their option did pick up their option. So that's part of the issue there. So you've got players that you probably don't want on this roster. So you have to clear them out before you talk about getting the guys that everybody is asking for right now, whether it's Jeremy Grant or whether it's, you trade for him or whether you just sign a free agent like what we've been talking about as far as Markelle Fultz, Tyus Jones, whoever. You have to get some of these guys that will not be seeing time out there on the floor, or have to get them off your team ASAP. I think Lewis would probably be the first one I'd look at if you're not going to go ahead and move JHS.
So if they stick with
LeBron's friends are still available.
So if they stick with
Carmelo,
we know they're going to pick a player at 5.5, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's say it's Gary Trent Jr. Let's just say, right? So
I got a good one from Kevin Brown whenever you're ready.
Go ahead.
Kevin Brown with the super chat. Thank you again for the super chat. Really helps the channel out. Every dollar counts. Truly appreciate it. And thank you again for being part of the Lakers Fast Break audience. Best Lakers chat room that's out there. Lakers Fast Break. He says, would you trade for Zack LaVine if it got you the assets needed to also land Lauri Markkanen?
I don't see why
both
not.
First group round picks, Joe, would have to go bye-bye in that.
No. Absolutely not. The Lakers will not be sending out any draft picks. And another thing to keep in mind, Kevin, draft picks will not be traded like this probably again in this capacity again because of what's about to come with this new CBA. Draft capital is only going to go to next level players. Right now, the Knicks are pouncing on that. Minnesota with Gobert, we're pouncing on that. But I don't believe you'll ever see these kind of hauls again because
Bridges.
It's going to be extremely difficult for anyone to do anything anymore once they start dealing with these aprons. They're overpaying these guys so much that almost every team at some point is going to be close to the max. And they're going to be fiddling around with the aprons. So no, I don't think you don't give up any draft capital especially for Lauri Markkanen. He's a good player, but you don't give up 2 future picks for him. If you said you got to broker a deal to get Giannis, yes, because Giannis could get you over the hump.
I'm still the mindset that Zack LaVine contract is still one that Chicago wants to get off of badly, Joe, because again, 29, bad knees. A lot of things have to go right for him to get back to where he once was, quite frankly, because he's been injured quite a bit of his career. Those are really well-traveled knees, a lot of surgeries. I'm not 100% convinced on if he can actually recover and continue to play well the course of a full season. So if you offer me Zack LaVine, I would have to ask for a first along with it.
No, Keith. The only The reason to take on that contract is to recoup draft capital. If Chicago calls me and says, and you'll likely need a third team to get into that to facilitate it. If Chicago calls me and says, we need you to take the Zack LaVine contract, I'm sitting there going, okay, are you going to add in Vucevic? Maybe. Okay. Let's talk two sides here. Let's say Zack LaVine and you guys take a lot of our, crap, and then you guys got to give us a draft pick next year that's top 3 protected. That's it. Top 3 protected. And that's it. Then you got to give us one more draft pick with Vucevic, and then we can make something happen. Or a couple more first-round picks minus Vucevic. I'm thinking of the future. And if we're not going to win a championship this year with or without LaVine, I would rather get some draft capital. And that's as simple as I can put it. Now, Vucevic being involved in that means you're probably going to have to send out D'Angelo Russell. But like I said, you're not going to win a championship either way, probably. But how about we start getting back a little bit of what we need?
You need to get back into next year's draft.
It has nothing to do with, at this point, it's no longer about performance. If he does perform, great. If the Lakers make a surprise, great. But I'm at the position now where you have to now be the aggressor in that. You have to now recoup what you just did. And who just did it right now, recently with their picks? Brooklyn. Look what Brooklyn did. Brooklyn got their picks back. Lakers need to start doing the same. And if this pushes LeBron out finally next year, let's say he says no to the second year and gets out, and AD decides to say sayonara, which I hope he doesn't, then you just have to deal with Zack LaVine's contract for 2 more years after that, and then just start drafting to rebuild.
Let me ask you this, and once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. Truly appreciate all these new people trying to watch and listen to us right here. Cannot thank you enough for doing so. Please like and subscribe so you get the latest notifications. We're here over 300 days a year right here at the Lakers Fast Break, and hopefully you'll join us. We've got a whole bunch of different people that come on the show talking basketball. In fact, Legend 350 is in there. He's in the crowd right now. He's here from time to time talking about the NBA. So please like and subscribe. Get the latest notifications when we go live on the air with the latest Lakers Fast Break. Somebody in the chat, and this chat is really rocking. HW Knight. Welcome, HW Knight. Trade AD back to his hometown. I know you've been a hard no on it. I'd like for the right deal, I would, because I don't think that the Lakers in their current position, team-wise, is a championship level team. So it's something you want to consider with AD going on his 32-year season. He'll be 32 by the end of next season. I know you're hard no, but with the way the Mikal Bridges trade went recently, with the way that this DeMar DeRozan trade just went now for let me see. Right here, it was Harrison Barnes and an unprotected 2031 pick swap to the San Antonio Spurs, 2 second-round draft picks and cash and Chris Duarte to the Chicago Bulls. But the Mikal Bridges trade, the Rudy Gobert trade, all these deals that are out there involving all these number 1 picks, even going back to the DeJounte Murray trades, multiple trades, mind you, would you at least consider it? Would you at least listen if they called you on the phone right now asking for Anthony Davis, knowing what you know about the Lakers team?
First, to address Douglas Mike's comment about the Bulls aren't attaching a first. Douglas, they're not trading LaVine unless they attach a first. Matter of fact, they're going to have to attach 2.
His health and his
health is the problem. If he had better health, then maybe a first, but one first. But it's going to take 2 firsts, and one has to be for next year. That's a fair deal. You get rid of that contract, and that's a fair deal. Now, as far as trading AD, I'll tell you this right now. If LeBron retires next year and AD requests a trade, I am calling Sam Presti the second I hear it. You send us over Hartenstein and fillers and 5 first-round picks.
I would go for 6. He's better than Mikal Bridges.
That's fine. And then you guarantee Oklahoma City's winning the championship in 2026. Presti gets his championship in 2026.
You're saying there's a possibility LeBron will retire. You just
That's
said
what I hear.
earlier
That's what Stone said. I don't believe it. But let's say he does. Let's say LeBron retires.
Okay.
And AD is adamant about not being a part of a rebuild. Chicago doesn't have anything of substance. I don't think they're going to send out 5. I don't think they're going to send out 5 first-round picks for AD or 6. I mean, they could, but I doubt it. I'd say Oklahoma.
So you think he's going to walk out of 50+ million or renegotiate on another 1+1 next year?
I would really
bringing back that $3 million.
Honestly, I would prefer, and you have to also understand who you're dealing with here, Gerald. Just focus on this for a second, and it'll make sense. You really think LeBron is not going to have a farewell tour? This guy loves himself.
I know he will.
This guy might love himself more than Alex Rodriguez, and that is saying something. Okay, the 2 biggest chodes when it comes to self-love is Alex Rodriguez and LeBron James, and LeBron James might be a hair above him.
So hear me out.
I don't see him doing a Tim Duncan and retiring 1 hour after the season's over, and then you never see him again, and grow dreads and stuff. Go ahead.
So hear me out, because we originally thought he was going to do the 3 for 162. We thought that was a given. Okay, he didn't do it, but he takes the 101, 2 years 101. He takes the $3 million hit to get the Lakers under the second tax apron. What if all goes well or not so well, even for next summer comes around? He has the ability to opt out of his contract, Joe, renegotiate again, and get that $3 million back plus another year on top of it. So he can plan that retirement tour if he so chooses, and end up making the 162 originally that we were talking about.
I think you're thinking too much, G.
Well, isn't that what they're thinking down at
Clutch? I don't.
I mean, they're playing Rob and the organization.
Just stick to the 2-year deal. I'm only saying this because Stone thinks this is going to stop after this year, but I don't
Stone
see how.
The VAT report
I don't see how. I have no feeling towards him retiring.
Subscriber, huh? Cool.
I have no feeling that he's going to retire from $50+ million and not have a farewell tour. This guy, his ego and love for himself is so big. It's no wonder he can still go into the crypt with how big it is. I just don't see it. I respect Stone Hansen's opinion and views and analysis greatly. Love his stuff. But I just don't see him walking away after next year, at least.
I don't see it either, but I see him renegotiating that contract, opting out, just so we can go ahead and ask for another 2 year, a 1+1.
I don't see why didn't he just sign a 3-year deal then? Yeah, he was up for it.
Him having the 1+1 gives him all the control, Joe.
What control?
Where he wants to go and what he wants to do. He can opt out.
Where's he going to go? Who's going to want LeBron James? No one's coming here because of him.
What if he wants to go there?
Go where? Who's going to pay him $50+ million for who? For
Philadelphia had the money this year.
Philadelphia.
There could be another team next year that has.
No one wants to pay LeBron James. Who is a contender? Who's going to be a contender that's got $50 million to throw at this?
All right, I'm just saying.
Tell me.
He has options. He's leaving all of his options open. He's going to continue to always leave his options open.
There is no option for LeBron James outside of LA unless he wants to take a minimum. What options are you talking about? No one wants to play with this guy. Why would anybody bring him in? For what? The only people that would bring him in is if they are contending and they somehow get under the cap next year and they sign him outright if he opts out.
Somebody asked about Curry. If he were to go, because Curry, his buddy Klay, has been traded. If it goes south and their team goes bad, you would think he would want to ask out. I do want to mention though that he is making $55 million this year and $59 next year. So
he
that's
does not want to leave
hard.
LA. I don't believe LeBron wants to leave LA. I believe LeBron loves LA, and I think his family loves LA.
Okay.
I just don't see what's the point of the Golden State thing. I don't know.
Anthony, they can't rebuild though. They don't have next year's draft pick. It goes to Atlanta. That's the problem. You can't tank. We cannot tank unless we trade AD and get a whole bunch of draft picks back. We cannot tank.
Mark, what are you talking about? Ban on the word chode.
Can we trade for Giannis and Embiid?
No. Giannis would have to demand a trade to LA, in which Milwaukee would be like, no.
Because you only have 2 draft picks to give them. You only have 2 first-round draft picks.
Giannis is contracted through 2028. Is that last year he has a player option? So that's a full contract. If Giannis,
or unless he opts out,
if Giannis demands a trade, he's going somewhere where the Milwaukee Bucks are getting stuff, which I think Miami would be the only spot.
Okay. Just ask.
Yeah, these are questions that are kind of irrelevant to the current setup of the league. There's no way this is possible, and LeBron has no reason to leave unless he doesn't want to play basketball.
But why does he only get the one-on-one?
I don't know. Maybe he gets tired of the ridicule. I don't know. I think he plays out 2 more years.
Thank you, Rosario, for liking the video.
Maybe he doesn't want to be an invalid towards the end. Maybe he wants to go out somewhat coherent on the basketball court.
Lopez is going to be hard to do, KCJ, because of the fact he's 22, 23 million. I think that's a hard.
That is true as well. Yeah, Avery, thank you for doing that. Sorry, G, I had to interrupt you.
No worries.
Because a lot of good comments online. Thank you, Avery, because I wasn't sure how many firsts they had. I thought they had 2 or 3, but yes. So Miami would have to trade the talent, essentially, and the draft picks wouldn't work.
Nobody wants Hero.
Nobody wants Duncan. Bam Adebayo, I don't think it'd be enough.
But to answer your question back up there in regards to Lopez, you could make it work if you did Rui, and I believe JHS might do it. But then again, you're asking Milwaukee to take JHS, and I'm not sure that they would do it. Maybe if you threw a couple second rounders on top of it.
The only trades that are going to happen now is the Lakers trading deadweight with a second round pick attached to it, but they're under the second apron, so they're not likely to do that. The Lakers cannot get a trade done for any significant player without having to send out draft capital. So it's not going to happen.
Okay.
It's just not going to happen. It's over, guys. It's over. Minus a few little kinks that they're going to work out here. This is the team that's coming, guys. I want you to guys listen to what I'm saying. LeBron James, Anthony Davis, D'Angelo Russell, Rui Hachimura, and Austin Reeves. Those are your starters. Then you're going to have to bank and hope that Gabe Vincent, Jared Vanderbilt, and Dalton Knecht can be your 8-man rotation. And then they're going to throw in Max Christie in there.
Chris is a big Wendell Carter fan, I can tell, because this is the second one for him. He said, would you consider Wendell for Vando and Cam Hayes? I would take that in a second, Chris. The problem is the Orlando GM on the other line would want none of it. Remember, they're an offensively challenged team. They're the worst offensive team last year. That's what basically cost them in the playoffs against the Cleveland Cavaliers. They could not score the basketball. So I don't think that they would trade away their starting center for 3 guys who can't give you a combined 10 points a game. Well, okay, when they could combine for 10 points a game.
I'm just laughing at love the blue or azul in Spanish. When we named the roster just now, he's all that roster is trash.
Anthony Arnes at Seawood is not in the rotation. That's the problem, though. We have literally no reliable big man coming off the bench, Joe.
And that is probably the biggest blow this year. Is that they could not at least give. At this point, they haven't been able to give AD at least one running mate, someone that could at least give him a break during the year to slide into the 4 and give him some help on the boards and spell him while he sits. I don't think Paul Reed's good enough, Kurt.
JSJ says, are we going to keep D'Lo?
You have to.
No, he obviously could not find a deal in free agency.
You have to. He's your only talented point guard who can shoot.
Alan says, I don't understand how we couldn't get Valanciunas. 3 years, $30 million deal.
That was my guy. That was my guy. That was the one I wanted.
I said that weeks ago myself. So,
well, Gerald fantasized it. I said it. So
it's on. The thing is, it's on the internet. It's on this show. It's on this channel. I've been talking about Valanciunas for a long time.
I don't believe you. No.
Yeah. You don't listen half the time, anyways. But anyways,
no.
Again, yes, that's correct. I've been talking about Valanciunas for a long time. Sorry. You can't own that one.
I didn't hear one word about Valanciunas from him.
Yeah, you have. That's because you don't listen half the time. Anyways, 3 years, $30 million deal. I have a feeling he will be traded by the trade deadline by Washington. It was for them for an asset move. They've got enough youth. They're going to be a losing team, so they're going to probably utilize him in a trade.
When Gerald passes away in the next 50 years, his tombstone will say, "Here lies, I told you, Gerald Glassford."
That's right. I did tell you. It's on this channel. You can go back and watch it.
Gerald wants to get credit for telling us all that the sun will come up every morning.
Oh, shut up. Anyways. Yes, cool, bro. We're here. It's the Lakers fast break. Joseph says rookie coach plus harder conference plus weaker team than last year. Incoming disaster. You guys are saying this stuff,
dude,
and you guys
okay,
you're telling us this, and we're the ones that were told all the time negative. You guys are negative. You guys are negative. You guys see this coming, right, Joe?
Well, we were not negative last year, were we? I wasn't.
We called it like we saw it.
I said, "Hey, Pelinka paid everybody. Now it's on you." Well, it turned out that the people he paid sucked. And the coach he picked sucked. And now we've run out of our patience. I'm done. I'm done with this because it set me off even more with the whole, the charity draft pick. We're doing charity draft picks because of, feel-good stories instead of focusing on winning championships. And that's where the venom comes from. It's a disgusting operation at this point. They're not focused on winning. And you saw it in the first minute into that press conference. Rob Pelinka and his whatever the hell hair was going on there. It looked like he had just woken up and somebody spilled a bucket of water on him. He's sitting there going, now with the new rules, I'm paraphrasing, it's going to be much more difficult to do blah, blah, blah. I'm like, why are you saying this while you're introducing your new coach? What does that even mean? So that was he was foreshadowing what eventually was going to happen here, which was nothing. And on top of that, he overpays for a guy who stinks in Max Christie. And I'm going back and forth. This is probably the biggest controversy I have in at Lakers ball is people actually think he's good. Some are coming around. Some have come around since the last time I talked about it. But so many think, oh, no, it was Darvin Ham. It's funny how convenient this Darvin Ham thing has become. I mean, come on, guys. Darvin Ham stunk, but Darvin Ham didn't block wide open shots that Max Christie missed. Darvin Ham didn't make Max Christie look right behind the guy who's guarding while he just pranced by himself to the hole. Like, these are player issues. Now, if you want to say he didn't put Max Christie in the right position, during the year, yeah, you have a legitimate argument there. But when he did get open shots, when he did have the ability to, let's say, control the ball and maybe at least get the ball to someone who's posting up, it was terrible. And this guy's supposed to be lanky and tall, and he's supposed to have some ball handles on the ball. He couldn't do that either. So what do? You can't shoot. You can't really play defense. You can't initiate an offense. You can't get past your guy to the hole. What the hell's he going to do? What is good about this guy? At least do one of these right. And I didn't see any of it. So you tell me, what am I missing? Just saying, that's what I saw last year. So this is the roster. This is a roster of misfits, but just misfits that don't really know what they're doing. At least after the top 4 or 5.
Once again, LeBron James has decided to go ahead and take a little less in agreeing to his contract 101 and as opposed to 104 for the 2-year contract. As you can see, what Bobby Marks spelled out there, he said, barring a trade to put them over, the Lakers project to finish the 2024-25 season below the second apron by about $45,000, so just barely. Their 2032 first would not be subjected to the draft pick penalty, which is eligible to trade next summer. However, they are still restricted to take back more salary in a trade or aggregate contracts if the post-transactional salary exceeds $188.9 million, Joe.
Oh, that was a whole lot of yapping. I can't believe somebody actually wrote this collective bargaining agreement. What was the point? Just make it 190 as a hard cap and let's go on with our lives. Seriously, what is this? Just make it a hard cap. Who sat here and said, yes, this is what we want? How did you know? Michelle Roberts, Adam Silver, you guys are geniuses. Yes, where do I sign? Just say it's a hard cap. Take it to 200 and make it a hard cap. You tell me. What do you think? Who's going to go over the second apron?
Well, you've got teams right now. Phoenix is already over.
Okay. After, let's say, in 3 years.
Okay.
Because this only started last year. I'm talking about.
Well, now it's really in effect this year.
Yes.
They weaned themselves into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Phoenix was all in. Let's see how long that they get hit year after year. If in 3 years, like you said, how many teams actually will go over that second tax apron?
It's no one. It's no one. It's too many restrictions. Even to get, could they have relented on some of these trade, restrictions? Why are they making everyone go through all this thinking? What is it for? I don't see the benefit of it.
Because this previous CBA, you still got tax, Joe. For instance, Golden State and the Clippers combined, they paid almost $1 billion combined under that previous CBA tax rule. Now, both teams are now under the second tax apron. So they've avoided, for the first time in a long time, they've avoided that serious penalties. But they paid out almost $1 billion, yet they were still trading, making trades, making maneuvers, winning championships in case of Golden State. The Clippers still kept on spending. That didn't stop them. Now, like you're saying, because the restrictions in place on the second tax apron, it's scaring to death a lot of people. We've seen a lot of trades today, everyone. A lot of small, minor transactions, a lot of waiving of players, moving them over to bad teams like Charlotte that's going to take them in just to get them off the roster. You're seeing a lot of that today go on because these teams are scared, absolutely petrified of going into that second tax apron, Joe.
And Alan, why would this league want parity? We talked about this a few shows ago. This league is about the stars and the dynasties. When the last time the NBA stunk was the 70s. And you know how many back-to-back champions there were in the 70s? From 1970 to 1979, Gerald?
How many?
0. Now, they blamed it on other things, which was complete BS, right? People don't. What blew up the NBA? It was the rivalry. It was the Boston Laker dynasties. And then you had a mix-in of Dr. J's Philadelphia 76ers. And then the Detroit Pistons took over that like third team during that time at the end of the decade. Then you had Jordan, who destroyed everyone in the 90s, except for a couple of years with Hakeem when Jordan was out. And then you had the three-peat Lakers and then the Spurs. Oh, and then you had Golden State and Cleveland going to the finals 4 years in a row. How were the ratings then? They were great. Cleveland and Golden State, right? Yep. And who were the stars? LeBron James and Steph Curry. I don't understand this. I don't understand why this league allowed themselves to put themselves in this position. No one cares about the Charlotte Hornets. No one cares about the New Orleans. Look, New Orleans got Zion Williamson. They destroyed his career. He destroyed it too a little bit, but that place was terrible for him. It's the worst place to go to.
If you want to touch on real quickly about the game earlier today, Lakers' first Summer League game earlier today at the California Classic, where they lost 108-94. Not really a whole lot you could take from it outside of the fact, again, they need to work on their defense at arms. The kid from Sacramento really went to town, 30 points, really looked dominant in the victory for Sacramento. But I know a lot of people are asking and talking about Bronny James. How well did he do? 2-9, 4 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. I think he had 1 or 2 steals. Didn't really look involved as much as I was hoping he would be. He played a lot of off ball on both the offensive and defensive end. Your thoughts, Joe? Again, I know you said it earlier on our yes, it is on our post-game show, but your thoughts. I know a lot of people, again, he is being lambasted and ridiculed right now. It's only one game, but I know as someone who didn't think LeBron should have been drafted at number 55 in the first place, I know it at least in some small way has a little bit of justification for you right now, Joe.
Hold on. Folks, Bronny sucking ass is a bad thing. And if you think I was not cheering for the Lakers today, then you're a fool. You're a damn fool, and you don't get me. You know what I saw today during Summer League? I saw the exact same game I've been watching, especially with those Kings that I've watched for 2 years. Exact same game. And it's a Summer League team. There's a philosophy, there's a personality right now, and it's resonating from the highest to the lowest. And it's still the same. Kings still making shots, Lakers still missing shots. Kings still whooping their ass in double-digit wins. Lakers still losing those games in the same manner. And you think I'm sitting here gloating that he's not playing well?
No.
That's a pathetic statement. Seriously. If Bronny came out today and dropped 25 points, I would have given Gerald full permission to slap me in the face.
I'd have to drive to California for that, but yes. I would have.
You would have to spend money to come slap me. At least you're not going to get off easy, Gerald. And you would have. And you would have liked it. So
I would have filmed it too.
But see, this is fantasy, by the way, folks. We're talking fantasy. Just like the fantasy that Bronny's going to be an NBA player. That's fantasy. Gerald's not going to drive from Vegas to come slap me in the face. It's fantasy. It's a joke.
We all want Bronny to be a success. You're right, Alan.
If he came out and was successful, then something good just happened. But folks, not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's like watching the Chargers play the Niners in the Super Bowl in 1995.
Am has a good point. Maybe they should have signed Bronny to a two-way deal, but unfortunately, his father, the representatives for Clutch, would not accept such an offer if it were presented to him. So there you have it. And instead, the Lakers signed him for a full 3-year with a fourth-year team option. So they've had in the past, Joe, like for instance, with Max Christie. We talked about Max Christie before, 2-year deal for him, other second rounders, 2-year deals for them. But Bronny, full 3 + 1 on a team option.
I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know the point of that. I really don't. Other than
the thing is they changed their mindset on how they signed second rounders for Bronny James.
This was a demand by LeBron. Now, my question is, what if they had told LeBron no? Was LeBron really going to leave?
No. Yeah.
So what are we talking about here?
I would have given the Lakers a discount, but I'm just saying that they have changed their way that they had been handling previous second rounders.
The Lakers didn't have to do diddly poo. All they could have said was, LeBron, we're not drafting your kid, and if you don't want to do an extension, then we do a farewell tour to end the season, to end his reign, right? He would opt in, and that would be it. That would have been the smart move. Privately, not publicly. Privately. Just Jeannie and Rob and LeBron in the room. LeBron, we have this guy that we want to pick at 55. We think he can help the team. We appreciate your situation with your son. He can come on as a two-way player. He can come on as a non-drafted invitee, and then we'll let him make the team, and we'll go from there.
Now, they did sign Lewis.
But that Rich Paul Punk comes out with all these demands like he runs shit, which I can't figure out why you would let that punk tell you what to do through LeBron, and you just allow it to happen.
The reason why I said that's because the Max, they could have waited. I mean, as far as if they signed Max to Christie to a longer contract at the original time that he was drafted, they would have had to sign him to that 4-year deal that they signed him to.
Why did they sign him for $8 million per? You're telling me he wouldn't have taken a 4-year, $16 million contract? Who else was going to pay him that money? 32 million for this guy? What the hell do they see that we haven't seen?
Maybe it's the same thing.
Got to be JJ Redick. JJ Redick had to have said something. It makes no sense why you would sign Max Christie to that kind of money, especially tinkering with all this stupid apron garbage.
Sam, I think they were never going to avoid not drafting Bronny. Bronny was always going to be their 55th pick. I don't think that was. I've been saying that for weeks. I know he won't say I will, but yes, I have been saying it on this channel for weeks that they were going to draft Bronny at 55. That was something they were never going to avoid doing. They were going to go ahead and always do that. The question was, would he have been drafted at 17? That would have really, really been a dumb move.
No, they weren't going to do that. They never had any indication they were going to do
that. Well, when Phoenix started working him out, that didn't get any interest out of you?
Who?
Phoenix was working him out just before the draft twice.
Oh, God. We all know what they were doing with that.
Okay.
They're trying to create value. I don't want to make this another Bronny speech. I'm tired of talking about Bronny James.
Dalton Knecht is hopefully going to be a good part of the rotation. And at the end, he struggled most of the game, but came in his first final stretch and started to show some of the signs that hopefully Lakers fans will be able to appreciate going forward. There is a game tomorrow. It's at 3:30 p.m. Pacific, 6:30 p.m. Eastern on NBA TV. It is the Lakers, believed, against the Golden State Warriors. So we'll see if that happens. But Dalton Knecht, A lot still riding on him to hopefully develop into something.
Well, I'm not expecting him to be Bogdanovich out the gate.
No,
but
when I told you that he's the fourth in line right now in betting odds for Rookie of the Year, did that surprise you?
I don't think that's anything other than Vegas playing with people.
Okay.
I don't even know how did the Lakers get the fourth best player in the draft at 17?
Fourth best option to get Rookie of the Year. That doesn't.
What is Knecht's ceiling?
Maybe like a Kyle Korver, maybe something a little bit better. You talked about Bogdanovich.
And
that's not a bad career.
Are we good? Are we good with both of those guys? Are we saying that those guys would be the fourth best player after seeing their careers? They would be the fourth best player in their drafts?
In this draft, it very well could be, because you know how bad this draft is being thought of.
Okay. I will tell you this: if he's the fourth best rookie in this draft, then the Lakers win either way. I think that means it's going to be a good pick.
Okay.
And he has an NBA physique and he has the stroke. If he puts in the work, he will be a rotational player.
I think so too.
Whether he'll be a 40% three-point shooter or a 44% free throw. 40% three-point shooter or a 44% three-point shooter. That's what I'm going to wait on. Now, you might be asking me, what the hell does that mean? Well, if he's shooting 44%, that means he exceeded even the 17th pick at some point. I'm not saying in his rookie year. And there's going to have to be an offense that's devised to help him. Can J.J. Redick turn these guys like Max Christie, Knecht, can he turn these guys and use their talents within his system? Is it simply just a bunch of threes? Is he going to have LeBron shooting a lot of threes? Didn't we hear that?
Mm-hmm. He's going to have LeBron.
Do you really want LeBron shooting? What happened the last time LeBron was shooting ill-advised threes 2 years ago? He was missing them, and he was missing them in the playoffs. People don't think this. Shooting three-pointers takes a lot of energy, folks. It's a lot of energy. Those times when Kobe would shoot for 46, he'd shoot 46 times, 40 times. I always saw these stooges always talk, wow, if I was given that many shots to shoot, of course I'd make 30 points. I'm like, do you have any idea how difficult it is to get your shot off in the NBA? That's how easy those guys make it look. They make it look easy. It's not easy. If you don't believe me, go watch the Summer League game today and watch every time Bronny James had the ball in his hand. And by the way, he's playing against Summer League talent. You tell me how much separation he could create and when he was actually shooting the ball with any kind of good flow or consistency. And this is a guy that's got a 40-inch vertical. So that means, all right, why isn't he getting off his jump shot higher? Since he's 6'1", right? Get your jump shot up higher. If you can jump that high, you should be able to elevate enough to get your shot off. But can he? Will he? Doesn't matter. I wouldn't mind Wally Zerbiak career. That would be a good one. I don't think that's the same. I don't think he's the same player, though.
And Elite Leo, that's a good point. That he was, people are overreacting when it comes to Bronny. Folks are acting like he was drafted number 1. The dude went number 55. What's the issue? You're right, Elite. As I say, and have been saying since the draft, 9 out of the last 10 picks at 55 have not made a significant contribution in the league. The odds are not in favor of Bronny making a contribution in the league. And he's only on a small second, round exception contract. So it's not that large of a contract once you do, to get off of it. I mean, Maxwell Lewis is, again, as I mentioned, as I corrected myself, is on something similar. So it is what it is again. But again, with all the spotlight on him because of who his dad is, that's the thing. That's why all the media. I mean, again, as I pointed out earlier, Joe, right now, as you travel along the I-15 here in Las Vegas or the I-95, you get to see all the digital billboards. Who's at the front of the digital billboard for the Las Vegas Summer League advertising it? It is Bronny James. It's not Risa Shea. It's not Sar. It's not Zach Edey. It's Bronny James right there front and center. That's who people want to identify with. That's who people are coming to see. If the numbers hit anywhere near compared to last year's, because everybody went crazy over the Victor Wembanyama here in Vegas, and if they if the numbers are good again, it's going to be because of Bronny James. Bronny James, second round, 55 pick, regardless of what you want to say, a lot of eyes will be on him this summer, Joe.
All right. I'm going to have to explain this again for the new crowd. Folks, this team is talent deficient.
You are correct.
To sit there and say that you have the goal that you could just throw away a draft pick that's within your control because it's the 55th pick is an insult to smart people. You have no room to draft someone that can't play. And if you don't pay attention to what's gone on in the league recently, before, then you're just caught up in the same bullshit that most people are caught up in. They're caught up in the reality show that it is. It's a circus act. It's a circus show. It's fake. It's you're going to watch magicians. That's what you're doing right now. Okay? You cannot ever convince common sense that the Lakers were focused on getting better even in that area. Okay? We have a three-time MVP that was picked 41st in the second round. 41st. Okay? Manu Ginobili. Remember that? You guys know who Manu Ginobili is, right? Manu Ginobili was picked 57th. We all know what he did in the
Trace
second
Jackson
round.
Davis
Okay.
was picked 57th last year.
57th. I'm talking Manu Ginobili, right? Manu Ginobili, arguably the second best second round pick in NBA history. Would you agree, Gerald?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right there, Jokic. Isaiah Thomas was picked 60.
Okay. So I can name you a lot. I can name you 5 more. Rodman, Marc Gasol, somebody we picked, the Lakers, Tony Kukoc, Maurice Cheeks, Paul Millsap, Gilbert Arenas, Chris Middleton. Just to name a few that came off the top of my head.
Well, what worries me, Joe, is that there's an undrafted player now.
You all are not getting it. You're not getting it. You cannot have that mentality if you want to win. That means they're not putting in the work. Look at the names I gave you. Almost everyone in that list is a champion.
Chris Middleton.
Almost everyone in that list is a champion. Only Gilbert Arenas.
The only thing I say, Sam, and I believe like this, I'm concerned if there's a 56, 57, 58, if one of those players hit or an undrafted player hits and becomes a good player in the league in this year's draft, that's going to piss me off, just like Joe, because the Lakers could have drafted that individual.
That is something that I need some of you to have it sink in. You don't think this is profession. This is the highest league in basketball, and it's been the highest league for decades. You can argue that since 1946, the inception of the NBA, that this is the number one league on the planet. Would you agree, Gerald?
Yes, I would agree.
That's a long time, guys. That was a year after World War II ended. So I'm not going to sit here and have to explain this every damn time, that if you're going to have this kind of thinking, you do not belong running an organization. You, the fan, can do it, sure. You don't have anything to lose. You don't have your career or your job. Well, actually, Rob doesn't have to do that either because he sucked ass in 2022 and he got an extension. But point is, for us to justify what's going on, you can't.
Last year's draft. Let's take last year's draft. You and I were live that day as they picked Jalen Hood-Schifino, when you and I were talking about, and what we did, we continuously did ad nauseum. Our audience was even getting mad at us. Will you stop talking about Cam Whitmore? Will you stop talking about Cam Whitmore? We will keep talking about Cam Whitmore and Jaime Jaquez Jr. and Podziemski, because all these guys were still available when you picked Jalen Hood-Schifino.
I stuck with the reason why I didn't mention Triple J and Podziemski is because those kind of picks, you don't know until after the fact. It's hindsight with those guys. But we knew that Cam Whitmore was the fourth best talent in the draft last year. You pick best player available. If you don't hit on that, it's okay, but you cannot pass up the best player at that pick.
Just like Knecht was this year. He fell.
Yes, they didn't, and they maybe they learned a lesson. It looked like they learned a lesson. The problem is every time they take one step forward, Pelinka takes 3 steps back. It's an ongoing back and forth. It's a tug of war that every tug that's going towards the Lakers' way, the opposition is doing 3 tugs their way. It's constantly just going that way. And right now the Lakers they're about to all fall down. This is going to be the year where it looks like they're all going to finally fall down. You're compounding the fact that that your 2 best players are going to be playing in the summer, and this run in Paris is going to be very difficult, folks. The U.S. team is going to really have to play well. That's why they have almost all the top guys there. They know that they're going to need everybody. And I'm never going to denigrate anyone. Doesn't matter if it's their 8th Olympics. Denigrate anyone who wants to represent their country. So I'm not dogging AD and LeBron for going. Can't do that. But it is going to be a problem for the Lakers when they go into the season. And
they're going to be tired.
They're going to be tired, and they're not going to have anyone. And all this talk about how, we got to trade D'Lo and this and that. I'm sitting there going, well, who's going to captain the ship? You cannot have LeBron playing point guard all year. He will bust open. This time he will bust something open. Can't do that. The reason why he didn't get injured last year is they picked the perfect times to have him sit during the year for maintenance. And D'Lo shot extremely well after January 1. Saved him because D'Lo was kind of struggling the first couple months.
That's a good point, 21st century. With the international rules, Victor and Gobert as your back line playing together, if they shoot well, watch out for France in the Olympics, Joe.
Yeah, France is starting to look like Slovenia, Yugoslavia, Czechoslovakia all in one like they used to be.
Canada
and
too.
Serbia too.
Canada might actually surprise some people as well, but yeah, France with that back line.
I don't know what they're feeding people in France, but they keep growing trees over there.
Oh my gosh, you got like Koulibaly that could come off the bench for you. I mean, the French players, like the kid who played for the Lakers today. I don't know if you guys know him or not. He is the guy that signed with the other 2-way contract guy outside of Blake Hinson. That's Armel Traore. And of course, Colin Castleton. The guy's got some hops, and he's not even being considered for the French national team. So got some talent in France, my friend. Risa Shea and Sarr, they're playing in front. There's more height and talent there.
Yeah, it's getting closer and closer. That's why they're sending their top dogs, their top bets for this, because they know they're going to need every bit of these guys to have a chance, because they got smoked last year. Granted, they didn't have their A or B team, but there's that mentality that's just not there, and the pride is not there, and you got to have your top guys if that's not the case.
WGO says LeBron is cheapskate to not take $50 million. I think he is still taking $50 million.
Is it rabid ass, Lloyd, or is it rabid?
Because he's taking $50 million. It's a 1-on-1 contract, so it's 50 and let's say roughly $50.5 million per year on average, if he picks up the second year.
It's not about winning, because Rob doesn't know what he's doing. Of course, he's got to then retreat and say, well, making trades is hard. No shit. It's
so hard. You're saying Rob is intentionally not trying to put out.
He's not intentionally. He's succumbed to his deficiency.
Well, no, Lloyd is saying that because of his allegiance to Kobe, he is not putting out his best offer. I think that's what. No. I just think he's bad at talent evaluation.
He's not liked in the league. Number one, doesn't know what he's doing. He's a freaking agent, guys. He knows the salary cap. That's it. And I don't even actually know if he knows this salary cap, because it's new. He didn't know the salary cap before because he was an agent. And I'm still bewildered by what Kobe saw in this guy. I don't know what he saw in this guy. I don't know if he changed when Kobe died. I'm maybe in denial myself that Kobe's death turned Rob into who he really was. And while he knew Kobe, he was always hiding who he really was.
I know you guys are really into Bob, and if anything above Rob Pelinka is a step up. Tim Connolly becomes a free agent next year. Just let everyone know. He built Denver and Minnesota.
Well, Jeannie would have to make that call.
Yes, she would.
And she would also need to understand that it's very likely that Bob Myers would try to convince LeBron to opt out and retire. Would she allow that?
It's whatever we say about LeBron, he does generate a lot of income for the Lakers.
The thing with Tim Connolly is Tim Connolly built two teams. That shows that he wasn't a one-hit wonder. And Bob Myers was a non-war concierge, as they say. He wasn't a wartime guy. As soon as it got hazy, he got out. Because he didn't draft Klay or Steph.
You never know. I mean, Tim Connolly is the smart man. He's leaving himself open. Yeah,
I would take Bob Myers over.
You take over.
I would take Bob Myers over Pelinka. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I'd take Myers over Pelinka, but Connolly right now, he built Denver and Minnesota.
I'd take either one. I just don't think that Jeannie's going to do that deal.
You think she's going to ride it out with Rob?
I don't know what she's going to do. I really don't. I don't know if she does anything, actually.
And with that note, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro along with me, Gerald Glassford. Hopefully you are having a good Lakers weekend. Don't forget, tomorrow, the Lakers play the Golden State Warriors at the Chase Center, California Classic, 3:30 p.m. Pacific, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, NBA TV. I would assume also as well, Spectrum would have the game, I believe, just guessing and throwing out there. But I do know NBA TV has that game. And then, of course, the last game in the California Classic is Wednesday against Miami, just to give everybody a heads up from there. But, Joe, it never seems to stop when it comes to Lakers. I mean, we're getting 200-plus people in the chat on a Saturday night in July. What does that tell you, my friend? What does that tell you?
I would say the algorithms are working, and people want to know what we're saying, and they seem to have stayed long enough to continue to want to hear more information. We have no lives, so we are working on a Saturday night discussing things that most normal people look at us and go, what are you doing with your life? But it's what we love. It might not look like we prepared before the show, but we do. Can't do a show like this without information, guys. And Kate Beckinsale is not underrated, Mark. She is rated and rated well.
By Joe Soro, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. That is
Eric. The odds are long they would get Tim Conley, but
no, they're not getting any of those guys. Don't hope for that, guys. The only way things change on this team is if Jeannie sells the team,
and that's not likely to happen anytime soon.
There would have to be a relentless PR destruction of Laker life. I'm talking. She has to read something just terrible every day about who she is and what she's doing.
Ho-Ho-san, Cam Johnson would be someone they're interested in. Jeremy Grant, absolutely not. He has one of the worst contracts, and we've said it already on this show tonight. He has one of the worst contracts in the NBA. I know you guys like him because he's a 20-point scorer on a bad team. He used to play defense a long time ago when he was on a winning team. But he is not going to move the needle, and you owe him in the $30 million range from now until he becomes a middle-aged, mid-30s guy in 2028. I don't think that's the contract you would want to have. And plus, Portland is trying to get picks for him as well. I'm not sure you'd want to give a pick for him. Cam Johnson is someone that, because Brooklyn is trying to go ahead and tank, Joe, they are trying to go ahead and get more picks from anyone who's interested in Cam Johnson. Are you interested in giving up a first for Cam Johnson?
No.
Okay.
I'm not interested in giving anyone any first-round picks unless it's a superstar, which is not likely because they'll want 5 picks.
Well, this is a desperate fan base because we go round and round with Grant. We go round and round with LaVine. LaVine's name just came up again. All respect to you, Sam S. But that one, again, you're getting a 29-year-old player on bad knees or with bad knees who has another bad contract to Lakers. If you give us a 1 along with it, yeah, let's talk. But you think Chicago, in a rebuilding mode themselves, Joe, is going to be giving out a 1 for Zack LaVine?
You want anybody taking that contract, you better attach 2.
You should.
Yeah,
But see, they're seeing it the other way around.
No. Then they're not gonna. Then they're not gonna get anybody to take that contract. There's no way. Not with his injury risk. No way. I'm asking for 2 first-round picks, 1 top 3 protected only next year. That's take it or leave it. That's it. I'm not taking that contract and risking the
subscriber, huh?
Risking LaVine officially getting destroyed next year, and then you have to sit on that contract for 3 more years after that.
Thank you, Lightning, for subscribing. Truly appreciate it. Absolutely cannot thank everyone enough. Please like and subscribe. Do it, Lightning, to subscribe today to get the latest notifications on when we go live on the air with the latest.
Sam, he's not. Yeah, Sam, he's not. He's going to garner more than 2 first-round picks.
The Mikal Bridges trade, Sam, that threw everyone off as far as that's concerned. I mean, that's going to be a tough. Now, it just like the Gobert trade, Joe. These wacky trades for 5, 6, 7 picks.
Subscriber, huh? Cool.
Thank you, Imad. Appreciate it for subscribing. These wacky trades with these, a large amount of picks, Joe, for players that are not. Mikal Bridges is a nice player, a really good player, maybe even like a fringe level all-star at his very best, but he's certainly not a superstar player. I mean, they tried to make him a superstar, but it didn't work out in Brooklyn. So same thing with Gobert. He's not a superstar player, yet these guys are going for 5, 6, 7 picks. that really just like adjusts the market. Like DeJounte Murray went for 3 first-rounders originally from San Antonio himself before he got traded for 2 more to New Orleans. It's so hard. Trey Young is probably going to go for an abundance of picks.
I don't think any of these trades set a market at this point.
Well, two picks, like you just said, is not going to get Trey Young. 2 first-rounders, which is all the Lakers have.
No, I would do that trade. Yeah, I'd do that trade.
I would do it for 2 firsts.
Because I think what you also have to send out a good amount of contract. Atlanta, I don't think Atlanta has time to wait. I don't think they're worried about not getting the haul that they want this offseason should they not get it. And who's desperate enough to get Trey and then be competitive is the question. Who's out there that needs Trey Young and can kind of take him over the hump?
Good question.
He's not going to Cleveland. What about Darius Garland for Trey? I don't think that's going to happen.
Trey and Capella, that'd be great, but that's a lot of money.
Would Houston have something with Van Fleet and some draft picks? Would they want to get Trey Young? I'd say that's probably when I look at who could really benefit. And of course,
subscriber, huh?
Atlanta would send them out west because most great players like that usually get sent to the other conference. So I would say my feeling in looking at the current setup in the NBA, Houston is like a player away from competing,
and they've got a ton of wings. They've got a ton of young wings.
They're a player away. They're a Trey Young away from probably guaranteeing themselves a playoff spot at that point.
If you made a package deal between Vliet, I know they're not in love with Green and Sengun. They have to go ahead and offer they're extension eligible. So I don't know if they love Green and Sengun enough to bite the bullet and just sign them for extended years. But yeah, if they're not, then you could see them being offloaded in a trade to maybe Atlanta for Trey Young.
Well, I need to see how many picks Houston has. How many can they throw at this? Can you do it without giving up Sengun? Because Sengun's going to be a very good player, right?
I think they're worried about his defense, Joe. His defense is really not that good.
Okay. Well, so what are you sending out? Dylan Brooks?
Good point. Yeah, he's got a lot of money.
Are you sending out Jalen Green?
Atlanta maybe would take back Jalen Green in a trade.
So it'd probably have to be something like a Jalen Green, Van Fleet, maybe, to kind of...
And a couple firsts, 2 or 3 firsts.
I'd say 3 to 4 maybe. But why would Atlanta do that? Why would Atlanta do that? That's going to be the question. They really don't need. Okay, let's say Van Fleet, Jalen Green, and 3 first-round picks. Do you take that if you're Atlanta?
Jalen Green, you need more than Jalen Green and 3 first-round picks.
I don't think so. No, Van Fleet makes what?
Well, they'd have to just to match that. So Van Vliet, Green. So you're getting Houston starting backcourt. And
correct.
3 first round.
Yeah, you have to give up something. Jalen Green's a young up-and-coming player. You got to give up something.
Yeah. I could see that happening.
And Atlanta's out of that contract at the end of 2025. It's a team option. So they can drop Van Fleet and they open up $44 million in salary next year.
Lightning Blitz, and thank you, DBSH. Appreciate the super chat. He says, what is Rob sleeping on? Is he in Cancun? No, I hope not, certainly. But he should have been in the audience today watching Bronny and Dalton if he was smart. But we'll see.
If you guys haven't been watching a lot of Laker basketball, you'll notice that the weasel goes back into his hole when things aren't good. When things start going well, he starts coming out. And that is actually his new nickname, the Wet Weasel. He looks like a wet weasel. And that I just made that up right now. I was looking for the right word, and that's the perfect description of Rob Pelinka. He is a weasel.
I just want to go ahead and quote something real quick from Lightning Blitz. New viewer. Appreciate you watching. Appreciate it. Like and subscribe if you can. As a passionate Lakers fan, I need the Lakers to make a move. He needs the Lakers to make a move. He said it doesn't make sense to keep the same team, a team which barely made the 7th seed, because they had to work really hard at the end of the season to do that. That will lose, and the picks don't matter because the Lakers cannot draft well.
Well, they've drafted well in the past.
There's a lot of rotation players.
It's just that they let them go.
Yes.
So there's no point.
I didn't say they were on the Lakers, Joe. I said there was a lot of rotation players.
That's to me, what's the point of drafting well if you're going to let these guys go? And then one of your best free agent pickups of all time, you let go as well. It's heartbreaking that we have to continue to endure this wasted energy for what? So that you could just discard them, and then they'll keep the trash. You sign Max Christie to an $8 million a year contract when he's done shit.
Kaio says, I like how Rob is not giving in by overpaying for a mediocre player. He's just letting it run until LBJ is gone.
Subscriber, huh? Cool.
Thank you, Lloyd.
If that were the case, then they would have gotten rid of him for sure next year instead of giving him this extension. That's not what's happening, guys. Jeannie has strict orders on this. She wants to keep LeBron as a Laker as long as she can because of the name. They are not interested in winning. They're interested in showmanship. They're interested in the circus. And so is LeBron. LeBron might be tired of this I got to win it all business. He might be tired now.
Hohusan Wendell Carter Jr., we've talked about a couple times already on the show, but he might be available because they just signed Batatse to an ice-long contract. They do have a lot of big guys in reserve. They do play good defense, but they need offense. I think if they call the Lakers, they would probably ask for Reeves because they need someone that generates offense there, Joe. Asking for Vando or Gabe or even Rui to an extent, because Rui doesn't generate a lot of points himself. He's relying on other players to get him the ball. Orlando needs offense. So if Wendell Carter gets offered in a trade, Joe, to the Lakers, it would have to be for something that manufactures offense for the Orlando Magic.
Unfortunately, none of the bottom feeders we have do that.
And the only player that they would look at is Austin Reeves.
And you can't give up someone who can actually initiate an offense a little, shoot the ball, has already a chemistry with this team, and is getting better.
Do you see him being traded for any, not Wendell Carter, but do you see him being traded, period, this offseason?
I don't think so. It would have to be if it would have to be like a DeJounte Murray type player for them to go that route. And I don't see anybody out there that's...
I don't think they will want D'Lo Bloodhound, because remember, he could have been a free agent and Orlando could have signed him outright. And they didn't.
No one wants D'Angelo Russell, guys. The word is out. The word is out. D'Angelo Russell is not someone people want or really value much. If he opted into $18 million, that means he wasn't getting any multi-year deals for $20 million a year.
Lightning.
If someone had said, let's say if Orlando had said, we'll give you a 3-year, $60 million contract, he would have been gone. But no one's giving him that money.
Lightning says, I would love Zack LaVine to the Lakers. I know his contract is scary, but LaVine has a desire to play with LeBron and is willing to improve his game to better the team. He has to improve his health, Lightning, first. Remember, again, as we said several times on this show and in the past, he's 29. with bad knees. He's been unreliable for him playing out there on the court. He has not had any consistent playing time, as far as back-to-back years with consistent playing time, because he's been off the court with injuries. And remember, he does have a scary contract. $43 million this year, $45 million the next year. On a player option in 27, it is almost a $49 million deal then as well. So that's a lot of cash, Joe, for Zack LaVine.
That trade would not be for the contract or Zack LaVine, really. It would be about returning draft capital back to LA. That's the key in that situation. If you can get
and what you give up, Joe, is like you'd have to do a package of Rui and D'Lo, or
no D'Lo. You'd have to do anyone but D'Lo in that deal because you don't have
43. You can't get to the 43 without D'Lo.
I think you can package. Some of those guys are not just minimum guys. I think you can package 40 mil using Rui and
Austin.
Rui, you can use Gabe Vincent, Vando. How much is that? 15 plus. So that's 30, 32.
Let me look it up in the trade machine.
32. Yeah, 32.
If you're Chicago, would you take it?
They have to take it. They have to take it because Rui's deal ends in 2026. And Jared Vanderbilt's contract's, 10, 11, 12, 13 mil for the next 4 years. That's an easy contract. If they want to trade it at some other time, they can. It's a decent contract. It's nothing debilitating. And then Gabe Vincent's contract's done after next year. So they can get out of this really the majority of it, almost 30 million of it within the next 2 seasons.
If they did Rui, if they did Gabe, and then maybe JHS.
Yeah, I'd throw in JHS in there and then one of the centers, Christian Wood or Jackson Hayes.
That only gets you to 33. No, actually, that won't work. He's a lot, Joe. Again,
so between Jalen Hood-Schifino and Christian Wood, they're almost 7 mil. That'd be enough.
No, you'd have to give up like 4 or 5 players. Why would Chicago want to do that?
To get out of the Zack LaVine contract.
They don't want to get out of it pretty bad, I guess. They've already got the ball contract.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen, but that's the deal. Or you could do a 3-team trade.
Yeah,
I'd say likely it would be
we just saw one today.
Actually, I think it's a 5-team deal. The whole Golden State Klay Thompson thing, it's a pretty complicated setup.
I disagree with you, Xbox. I know you're Australian. All respect to our friends in Australia out there, but Giddey can't shoot. He's got it, and he can't play D.
We can't
you need him the
Giddey
most.
anyways, so he has to.
No, he's talking about he thinks the Bulls won the trade. Giddey, great playmaker, good court vision. I will give you that all day long, but there's a reason why he lost his spot in OKC, and he can't play the D you need and can't shoot the ball yet. So hopefully, if he works on that, then I'll have to agree with you. But right now, I think Caruso is the better part of that deal. Kaio says, tell me facts if we get Jay Grant or Zack LaVine. Are we a championship squad?
No.
Or being idle is better? Okay, the Nuggets did get worse, Kaio, but they lost KCP. It's not like they lost Murray. I think there's a difference there. They will not be as good as they were last season unless they find someone just as good or better than KCP. But they're not down. They didn't go so far down the rabbit hole that they would be at the Lakers level.
I think they're banking on the fact that Christian Brown will be the KCP for them.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but
and maybe Deron Holmes is, and we that was a guy that we were looking at. The Lakers were looking at 17. If Deron Holmes is him, then they can have
they end up picking a player that might at least cover. Between him and Brown, they'll be able to maybe cover for KCP.
So Sam S is asking, with our current roster, what's the ceiling for this team? Do we end up top 5 in the West?
No, not with this team.
No.
With this team, I'm going to be honest. I don't think they make even the play-in.
I'd say right where they were last year is the highest. That's their ceiling.
And the reason why I'm saying they won't make the play-in is because the West got better and AD and LeBron were healthy all year, and I'm not banking on them being healthy, especially with them playing in the Olympics. So if one of those guys gets an injury, we are effed. You're gonna need to have those guys play another healthy season. Otherwise, if LeBron misses 20 games, 15 games, if AD misses 15, 20 games, nope. It's sayonara for the Lakers in 2025. They will not make the playoffs.
And LeBron, Rui, and D'Lo all shot above 40% last season. And like you said, LeBron and AD
we were wrong. We were wrong in so many areas last year. Wrong the entire year. A lot of it was because of positiveness and hope and a little bit of common sense. Hey, how can we not think that 40% shooters on this team in the rotation? And I believe Taurean Prince shot like 39%. So there was almost basically 4 guys. You had you had 3 to almost 40% three-point shooters on the team. You had, and one of those guys was LeBron. You had LeBron play 71 games, missed 11 games, but didn't miss due to a major injury. The 11 games he missed was because they were trying to manage him. Anthony Davis missed 6 games. That's it. And those were maintenance misses.
Joe, they played 90% of the games.
They played all year. They had 40% shooters on this team, and they still stunk. So maybe we need to just come to grips with this, guys, that this team is broken. It's fractured is the word I used last year. It's fractured. We were wrong the whole year. We said if AD was healthy, if LeBron was healthy, if we shot really well, if D'Lo has a good year, if Austin Reeves has a good year, all that happened. Granted, D'Lo took him a couple months to do it. I think Austin took him about a month and a half. Nonetheless, they were very productive from January till April. That's a long time. It didn't mean anything. You know why? Because you had a dipshit coach who didn't value games. And not only did he not value them, he made it public that he didn't value them. And those 5 games that they lost, or 6 games, or 7 games, that we're sitting there going, you had to win these games. You win those games, you're sitting in the 4 spot. You're sitting in the 5 spot. Now it's a whole different run in playoffs instead of having to face the champs at the time who own you. Your mentality changes. Your body changes. There's a reason why, folks, that in the 33 years I've been watching this game in the NBA as a understanding adult, there's a reason why in those years there's only been one team that's won a championship at the 6th seed. Even with all this parity, only one team. And that was the Houston Rockets in 1995. Very long time ago. And no one's won it at the 5th seed.
Xbox, yeah. If we get to 1 million subs, I'll add another one here. Got the Avengers, got the Lakers. I'll put an LFB. May also put a PCC one day as well. So never know.
If corrupt hits, there's going to be a lot of opportunity to get.
Joe, you got to get a corrupt tattoo?
I don't get tattoos.
There you go. I tried, guys. I tried. So Kaio says, I'm infuriated as you are. At least you guys are hey, you know what? We're not trying to be downers when you guys come up with stuff. I know, Kaio, you talked about John Collins from Utah as options. I don't know. Again, how much does he move the needle if you bring him on your team? He's had some, after a really good, promising start, he kind of languished in Atlanta, and then Utah is done. Okay, not great, but okay. That really doesn't, move the needle for the Lakers, but I understand you're frustrated. He says, I'm infuriated as you are, so I think it's best to restart. That's the problem, Kaio. We can't restart unless we trade Anthony Davis. We really can't go ahead and tank, Joe, unless they trade Anthony Davis, because they don't have a pick for next year's draft.
They need to get rid of LeBron first and his people. They're
by that time, what's 2026?
They are a loafer heel smudge on really, really nice linoleum. It doesn't come off. You got to get that off. LeBron James and Clutch are a virus to this team right now, and it's eating away at the team. AD, I'm not gonna trade AD unless he wants to be traded.
Okay.
AD.
I'm just saying, Joe, because there's people out there more. Well, let me just say this. My apologies. More and more people are starting to ask, like Stone did. Stone was the first one out there in a public forum to talk and literally say, what's the best option for him? Doing a rebuild. He said that months ago, Joe. He was the first one to put himself out there for that. There are now more and more people in our audience, more and more people out there on social media, more and more people talking about the possibility that the Lakers, seeing how high now and how many teams you might have to climb in the Western Conference, it might be time for a rebuild.
It's hard for me to look at someone who's 30 and has the skills of an Anthony Davis and say,
it's 31.
You sure?
Yeah. He's 31 as of now.
Huh. Yeah, he turned 31 in March.
Yep.
It's hard to find that. What are you going to get for Anthony Davis? And
I'm not saying I disagree with you.
I think there's steps here. Number one, you got to wait for this LeBron James to leave, go away, and his people to go away. And then second, you got to fire everyone that's in charge of anything front office. Then you got to bring in the right middle management, the right GM, player personnel guys, someone who's likely going to have to get their own coach, because I think JJ Redick is going to bomb with this team. Get ready for it, by the way. And that's that. Then if management thinks that they can proceed without Anthony Davis and getting capital for him, then I'm willing to listen. But if AD says, I don't want to leave, I keep him and build around AD. It's going to be a lot easier to turn this around with AD than not. Because there's a likelihood that somebody's going to want to come to LA and play with AD too.
And while there are people, again, like myself, I lean towards the rebuild. There are people out there that are very positive on the Lakers. Like, for instance, Chad Powers. Welcome, Chad. Truly appreciate you being here. The team is not far away. Half our team was injured last year and the coaching was terrible. When you say half, do you actually mean the half that counted, when he's saying stuff like that, Joe? Or is he talking about half for the productive players? I mean, some of the players that were injured amount of time really would not have moved the needle, not much for the Lakers. Gabe Vincent, Jared Vanderbilt, these guys, they help a little if they're full health, but they're not LeBron and AD. Your two core players, Joe, were healthy virtually the entire season. I don't know how much far or upward mobility they can go with this roster. I just don't see it. I just don't see how there's a better way for this team. This particular group of team.
No, sorry, folks. Anyone with any significance was not injured last year. Reeves was healthy, played all 82 games. D'Angelo was hurt for a little while, for a few weeks, but he was healthy pretty much the whole year. I think he played 68 games. LeBron 71, AD 76. Taurean Prince played 79 games. He started 49 games. And then you had Vanderbilt play really well for a few weeks until he couldn't do anything. No, folks. The Lakers had their main guys healthy, and the Lakers couldn't get any reinforcements to add to any kind of role players to the team, because everyone was asking for our role players that were productive, and Rob wasn't capable of getting anything out there for anything. The Lakers are dead in the water at this point.
Chad puts in there, Gabe was a rotation player for a finals team. Vando is the best defender on the team. Rui was in and out. Well, I could counter that by saying Gabe gave us nothing, even when he wasn't injured. Before he was injured, he played 11 games only, but still wasn't pretty sight when he was in there. Vando is the best defender on the team, but he's also probably the worst offensive player on the team. So teams scheme against him, and sometimes on the offensive end, Joe, it's like playing 4-on-5. So with that said, there are limitations to our rotation players, and sometimes it works for you and sometimes it works against Joe. So I don't know. I mean, Chad has a point, but again, with those players healthy in there, Rui playing a full season as well, starting in there, I don't know. I still don't see enough upward movement for the team as far as how far they can go.
No, I don't either.
And you're counting on LeBron and AD. LeBron at 40 and AD, again, to play a full, healthy season. What are the odds on that, Joe?
Not good. Not especially when you didn't improve the team, especially for AD, whom you didn't give him any shot at moving back and forth between the 5 and 4 during the year. I'd say that was the biggest miss this year, this offseason, that they couldn't get they couldn't get a big man that could really, really help AD. That
So
might have been.
Are they going to ask LeBron to play another 35 plus minutes a game again?
Absolutely. There's no other choice. You saw what happened last year when Darvin tried to play him 29 minutes in game 1. They completely folded.
Yeah.
LeBron will love to play 35 more minutes because his career is about to end, and he's going to stat pad. LeBron only is playing for stats now. He's going to, if he plays out his 2-year contract, he will have played 23 years. And he can hang his, whatever that do-rag that he wears for whatever reason, he can hang that on his mantle and say, I played 23 years, I scored 42,000 points. But when I look at his career, much like I look at Shaquille O'Neal's career, there's a lot that was left that shouldn't have been left. Shaquille O'Neal not having at least six championships it's a missing part of his career because he was that good. LeBron, the same thing. LeBron should be sitting at 6 right now, getting 7. But he no player is perfect, but too much meddling at the wrong times cost him in the end. Not compromising with certain management. Because if you were to say it was a Cleveland thing, okay, Cleveland sucks. Ownership sucked. Okay. But he had the same problem with the guy down south who is one of the greatest. He's the second greatest executive I've ever seen in my life. And he learned under the greatest. And you managed to not be able to work it out with him. And you had everything there. You had Miami. You had all the opportunities to get talent year in and year out, and that wasn't enough.
So let's take a look at this, my friend, here, and bring this up on the stream. Once again, is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro, a.k.a. Ox1947 at LakersBall.com, and his company, Simblades, Simblades with a Y.com. He can transform your lawn into something much more magical than it is today. Check out Simblades, Simblades with a Y.com. My name is Gerald Glassford from the Pop Culture Cosmos and the Lakers Fast Break. Kurt Affair asked a good question. He always asks good questions when he's not making jokes that make me laugh. How do you think the West shakes out now, Joe? So I post up last year's numbers, and you see Oklahoma City Thunder at 57. They have made not one, but I think two really solid moves to boost themselves even better, at least during the regular season and maybe in the playoffs with Hartenstein and Caruso. Denver lost KCP. Minnesota has made some headway with a couple of those rookies that they got. So first-round picks. The Clippers did lose Paul George. Dallas made some moves around the fringes, adding some good pieces, including Najee Marshall and, of course, Klay Thompson, and also Grimes as well. Maybe he'll be able to play well for them. Phoenix, they've been kind of restricted on what they've been able to do, Joe, because they are in that second tax apron. Then we have the Lakers. We have the Pelicans, who I think they're still a work in progress. They did get DeJounte Murray, but I think they still are going to do more things this offseason. Sacramento, which just got DeMar DeRozan tonight. Golden State has made some pickups along the fringes, but they did lose Klay. Houston, we talked about Houston a little while ago. Memphis is another team I think that people need to look out for because they have all three players, their top three players will be back healthy. And of course, Zach Edey as their rookie playing center in the middle. San Antonio, how much of a jump do you see from them? Your thoughts on this, my friend, how the West will shake out now, at least as of July the 6th.
Well, I'm going to wait to determine what the New Orleans Pelicans will be. I got to see what happens with the Brandon Ingram situation. Sacramento is going to go up. Golden State, I think, slightly got better with what they've done this offseason.
I like the DeAnthony Melton sighting.
Yes. Dallas will continue to play well. Phoenix, they're almost kind of the same boat as the Lakers. I'd say they're going to be on the same boat with them. Clippers, they're probably going to go down a little bit. And, Houston, I think, is going to be on the come up. Memphis, I got to see how Ja plays throughout a whole season before I make an assessment there. I think the Jazz will continue to be bad, especially if they trade Laurie. Spurs are going to stink, and I think Portland might be the worst team in the NBA.
Memphis is just one season removed from a playoff team. So,
yes. The Lakers are going to have to compete with likely, for sure, 11 teams, maybe 12. And the conference has 15 teams. So it's really Utah, San Antonio, and Portland. They're the only ones that are everyone else has a legitimate chance of being a problem.
San Antonio.
And looking at those standings is depressing to me because we said 5 games, right? If you'd won 5 more games, and I think this is what these guys think is going to happen because they're idiots. They think, JJ Redick is a better coach than. I'm saying this is what my assumption on this. They're thinking, man, if JJ can just get us 5 more wins, we're sitting in the 4th spot. Well, folks, you still have to factor in that it's a new year. You also have to factor in that, are you going to have a healthy team? Are your players going to be better, worse? You don't know that with the role players. But they're banking on everyone staying healthy and banking on JJ Redick, who's never coached in the NBA, to possibly get them more wins. I'm trying to figure that out.
So I'll ask you again, my friend, and put it into detail. Do you think the Oklahoma City Thunder got better this offseason?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
Do you think Denver Nuggets got so bad that they are going to be worse than the Lakers?
No, I think what happens a lot to teams that win championships is there's a combination of burnout and the fact that they're now the prey and they just had a bad quarter. Otherwise, I believe they would have been in the finals.
I don't think he meant you as the idiots per se, Chad. I think he was talking about the management of the Lakers. I think you were misunderstanding. Were you commenting about the Lakers management being idiots, Joe?
No, I was talking about Chad Powers.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm just kidding.
All right. He's kidding you, Chad. He's kidding you, Chad. But
no. If I wanted to call you an idiot, I would.
Yeah, believe me, trust me, he would.
Yeah,
and he will on the show.
Yeah.
Well, let's go to Minnesota. Minnesota, you think a year of seasoning after their playoff run will get them in a better position than the Lakers?
That team, I don't know.
Really?
I don't know. I don't really trust Karl Anthony Towns. Anthony Edwards is a phenomenal athlete and player, but there's something still missing with him. And then Gobert, I think we've spoken enough about Gobert.
How far do you think the Clippers go down in the new toilet bowl without Paul George?
They're probably not going to win 50 games for sure. I'd say.
You think they're above or below the Lakers?
I think they'll be in the 42, 43 range. That was a big loss. That was a huge loss. They're saying that James Harden will now have kind of carte blanche. Well, James Harden is slowly going to continue to go.
That's a recipe for disaster.
And Kawhi is already going.
Dallas Mavericks. What do you think they'll take out from their finals run? 50 wins last year.
I'm going to say that Mr. Doncic is going to have to drop about 20 pounds.
Okay. He is going to be playing in the Olympics. So.
And well, didn't he get bounced today?
Did he get bounced? I didn't know.
He got bounced.
Okay. Oh well.
He will need to.
Maybe he will gain.
He will need to drop some pounds. And
he likes the food.
And the Mavericks are gonna. They're gonna have to kind of turn on the switch a little more. They have the talent, but they got completely destroyed by the Celtics.
Aussie said they got bounced and got bounced by Giannis. Kurt says, and that according to Xbox, Luka looks so fat today. So there you go. I want to go ahead and continue on. Phoenix. What are your thoughts on Phoenix? Again, a team that's really hampered.
Identical to the Lakers. They're reliant on two guys, and everyone else. It's a hopeful situation. I'd say not good because Bradley Beal is terrible. Absolutely terrible.
But still one of the worst contracts.
Bradley Beal is what likely would be the Zack LaVine contract with the Lakers. He'd be that third guy that's just sucking your entire team to death if he's not playing and he's injured.
What about the Pelicans? They did have a better record than the Lakers in the regular season.
I don't know if Zion did not get hurt in that game. There's a very good chance the Lakers probably don't make the playoffs.
They would have been playing OKC.
Well, would they have gotten the eighth?
Yeah, they would have gotten the eighth.
No, they would have had to have played one more game, and they would have to.
You don't think they would have beaten Sacramento or Golden State?
No.
Okay.
They were getting their
Speaking
ass.
of Sacramento.
No, actually,
Sacramento.
Sacramento got better with DeRozan today. Golden State got a little bit better without Klay.
Above the Lakers?
Yes. I'm going to say yes.
How about Houston?
Golden State, Phoenix, and the Lakers all kind of, to me, are the same. But I trust Golden State more than I trust the Lakers right now.
Okay. What about a team like Houston?
Houston is, I think, a player away. I really think they got to go after Trey Young. I think they're the team to go after Trey Young. They go get Trey Young, and Atlanta's good with what they can get back. I'd say that would be a difference maker.
Okay. Again, we mentioned before Memphis and San Antonio. How far do you think they'll come back up?
Memphis, I don't trust John Morant. So let's just say he comes back and plays like John Morant can play. Then they're going to be a problem too. Then they're going to be competitive. San Antonio is going to suck. And I would start looking at San Antonio after this year. If they win 30 games, if I'm
I don't think they're a playoff team or a play-in
Yeah,
team. I
if
think
I'm-
that they are a 30 to 35 win team. I think
if
that's
I'm
not
Buford, if I'm Buford and Popovich, you guys got to start doing something different over there. This isn't. This is not working. Something's off. It's time for Pop to go. I'd like him to stay. San Antonio's sucking isn't bad right now. Portland's going to be bad though.
Okay. The Menu movie. Yes, I have seen that movie. It's pretty good, actually. I'd probably say it's pretty good. I'd say it's worth your time. It's solid. It's solid. Just to give you a heads up on that. It's, I do a lot of pop culture on the side, Pop Culture Cosmos show that I have as far as the channel is concerned. So that's why I can talk a little bit about pop culture from time to time. Joe does too. Joe and I, we talk about a lot of pop culture. We talk movies on this channel from time to time. He's a big Sopranos guy. Anything mob related, he usually is quite into. We talked a lot of food on the last episode earlier today, as far as our favorite sandwich places. So yeah, and you're welcome, Xbox. Kaio says, what if LBJ took less? Would PG-13, James Harden, DeRozan, Klay, and etc. would take the MLE after being disrespected by their own team and having an issue with LBJ in the past, bad blood, and etc.?
No. Never. No one will ever not take more money 99% of the time. And they're not taking less money to come to LA. LA right now is it's not a destination to come to, and it's not just the Lakers, it's also the atmosphere in LA. LA is a shithole right now. It's a bigger shithole than it's ever been, in my opinion. No one wants to go to LA. If you guys have been around LA recently, you'd see it.
I say 34 wins for San Antonio is very reasonable. That may not be reasonable enough for Victor, but I'd say 34 wins is not out of the realm of possibility because they've got Harrison Barnes, CP3. You still got Vassell. You got Castle in the first round. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Keith. Truly appreciate you saying that. Thank you. Very kind words. Hopefully you'll be able, again, like and subscribe, get the latest notifications on when we go live on the air with the latest Lakers Fast Break. We'll be on tomorrow sometime after the game. I may even be on for playback. I'll let you guys know with a note if I'm on for playback, playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break, to watch the Lakers and the Warriors. Bronny and Dalton Knecht's second game with the Los Angeles Lakers.
It's coming, Mark. I think they debut in September. Tulsa King.
Yep. The trailer is already out, Xbox, if you want to catch it on YouTube.
I try to not watch trailers anymore because I feel like I can see what the episodes are going to be. I like to be surprised, so I try to avoid trailers and snippets. You'll see something, hey, they're coming out in December, cool. I'll read it a little bit, and then I'll change it right away. I like to be surprised.
Yeah, I think the Spurs will be improved. Leon, I definitely think the Spurs will be improved. I think they're a team to watch out for. And Joe and I are both very high on Wembanyama. I remember seeing him in person here when he played for the French team here in Las Vegas. And I was impressed then. And I think he will be one of the greatest players, barring any health issues, for the next 10 years going forward. So I think you can count on that, barring an injury, of course. So,
yeah, make it loud, Chorus. We would love
Miguel
that.
has a good question. When should we expect the Lakers trade? Before trade deadline or before the season starts? That's a good question.
I'd say if they have to thin the roster, I'd say there's a possibility you could see it in the next few weeks.
They have to make they don't actually have to make a trade now that they're a whopping $45,000 under the second tax apron. So they technically don't have to do anything, Joe, because LeBron took less money. So very gracious of him to do so, Joe.
Oh, what a disaster, man. For those of you who just got onto the show, you're going to see some fireworks here. And I'm not talking about Independence Day weekend either. There's going to be a lot of fireworks during the year. And it's going to be negative fireworks to some. But there's going to be this team isn't looking well. It's not looking well at all. And we'll sit here and become masochists either way.
But my friend, it's been a great chat. Any last thoughts, my friend, before we head on out? Oh, had over 200 people in the chat simultaneously. One of our biggest shows ever on a Saturday night in July.
Well, at some point, this is going to be the norm, and it's time for the Laker fan base to know who we are. We already told some guys off today, so we know that we're going to get a lot of those guys. But we also met a lot of new people that like the show, and I don't want to repeat who we are. You guys are going to know pretty quickly who we are. I don't have a lot of respect for this current regime. And it's based off of the fact that they're terrible at their job, and there should be other people doing their job at this point.
Yeah, Afghanistan, I'm not expecting anyone to give us anything. So I'm not expecting a lot, especially
that's why the viciousness gets worse because of that reason. When you have someone unofficially trying to keep you down, that's when you start getting that. That's when you start to put your head down and really work. And you make them eat it. And you submit them to your will. Instead, these guys are weasels, and they're headed by the head weasel.
Still so funny how you say that.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what these guys are. They're cowards. They're cowards. Why are they cowards, Joe? Why are you being mean? Blah, 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 blah. Folks, this is a ownership and a team that text messaged their icon's wife at 11 o'clock to tell them that their season tickets have been revoked. I mean, you tell me, Gerald, is there not a bigger chicken shit a-hole than that? A guy that's responsible for 75% of the worth you have. Probably more.
I want to hear what LeBron's going to say tomorrow or whenever next time he meets the press about.
I don't want to. The last thing I want to hear. Last thing I want to hear is LeBron talk.
I can't wait.
Last thing I want to hear is him talk. I cannot stand when that guy talks.
I can't wait. I cannot wait to hear what he's going to say.
Yeah, the respect for a lot of these guys is not existing here, and they've shown their cards, if you will, and I don't see them enhancing themselves in their 60s and 50s and 40s at this point. I think these guys have, for so long, been those guys that have gotten in everything they've wanted, and they're going to continue to have that kind of mindset. And anytime they don't get what they want, they figure out a way. They buy people out. They treat people a certain way. Okay.
Yeah, the Jerry West deal is going to reflect poorly for generations to come with Lakers fans. The PPP loan should not also be forgotten as well. That was a pretty underhanded move as well. That's something that has now been, as COVID becomes more and more as far as what we did and how we reacted in a little bit in the review mirror. That PPP loan thing, Joe.
It wasn't just them. It was the sewage rat. Kardashians did it. Imagine that. Tom Brady did it. Reese Witherspoon did it. A lot of prominent
for the pro teams,
a lot of prominent
the NBA teams.
A lot of prominent people did it.
Yeah.
A lot of prominent people did it, and respect for those people. I really like Tom Brady, and I actually like Reese Witherspoon, but I am immensely disappointed. And they actually took it, by the way. At least Jeannie was smart enough to give it back. And then, of course, the Kardashians. That I don't want to say other words, but you know how I feel about that.
Yeah, I know how you feel.
Yeah.
Yes. And on that note, it is the Lakers Fast Break. Truly appreciate you joining us. Once again, the Lakers do play at 3:30 p.m. Pacific, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. If we're going to be on live and do a simulcast off of playback, I will let you know. I've posted here. Hopefully, I can go ahead and do that. I would love to have you here for it. And then tomorrow night, we'll give you a recap of the game and some final thoughts on a Lakers weekend. Definitely, truly appreciate you taking the time. One of our biggest audiences of all time. Not our biggest, but one of our biggest. And we're grateful for it. We cannot thank you enough for being a part of what we're doing. Hopefully, you will be liking and subscribing what we do here at the Lakers Fast Break. So, for Joe Soros, Gerald Glassford, well, actually, you know what? I'll let Joe speak for himself. Joe, any last thoughts before we head on out?
I think I've said everything I needed to say tonight.
Okay. Kurt says, Laker Tom will buy the Lakers after he sues Coke for making him have crazy ideas. You too, Eric. You too. Everybody have yourselves a great weekend, a safe weekend, and we'll see you tomorrow right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. I don't even know why I play this music anymore. I should just have you do that on the way out.
This is the best music we have.
Have a great